again, Harry, for that intro of Sketchbook by you and your band. And I just want to welcome everybody to the Hugs Not Drugs podcast. And it's another exciting day for me. And I'm reading the Road to Wellness workbook by John Forlenza-Bailey. He wrote this about 2017. He used it in his private practice. It had very good results talking one-on-one and mentoring people through this workbook. And people get well because they want to get well. It's not because of the great John Forlenza-Bailey. It's because of their motivation and their desire to change their way of life of addiction. And I congratulate anybody that's doing that. It's very miraculous that happens. Now you may ask yourself, well, what is this show about? The Hugs Not Drugs show. What is it for? How will it help you? I can answer that. First, I'll just introduce myself. I'm John Barleycorn. That's not my real name. I'm using pseudonyms to really keep things anonymous. I don't want to get out there and be all that. My pride would not allow it, I'm sure. I'm a prideful person already, and that would zoom me into another stratosphere. So Alcoholics Anonymous realized that people in recovery need to protect their anonymity because of the shamefulness in society about being saying that you have a substance abuse problem or an addiction problem. There's all kinds of addiction. There's shopping addictions. There's eating, overeating. There's overwork. There's gambling. But substance abuse is what I have. That's for sure. And my nickname is John Barleycorn, and I'm sticking to that. So this podcast is about helping people that are motivated in recovery from their mood-altering addictions and getting additional ability to have personal health by enjoying the important stories and educational information and the entertainment that's provided in the Hugs Not Drugs podcast. So we're going to chapter 2. Let's get to it. I'm grateful for you guys listening to this and wanting to understand a little bit about relapse. Relapse prevention is very, very important concept in recovery. And this is a short chapter. And here we go. On page 27, Relapse Prevention of the Road to Wellness workbook by John Forlenza-Bailey. Using unnecessary mood-altering substances causes the reemergence of active addiction. If not prevented, is relapse. A relapse is a regression that is more out of control than it was at the time a chemically dependent person began abstinence. Being abstinence does not buy drinking and drugging time for the chemically dependent. Relapse can happen at any time, and you're especially vulnerable during the first year of your recovery. Relapse to active addiction after 6 months or more of abstinence is surely an act of insanity for the active alcoholic and addict. After all, the physical need to drink or drug has long since passed. The mental obsession to drink and drug, however, takes longer to overcome. Yeah, I can attribute that to Hugs Not Drugs. My counter ego here. Well, you take it away, Huggy. Yeah, Hugs Not Drugs here. That's my nickname for that I was given in the episode 1. If you go back to that, you'll understand why my nickname is Hugs Not Drugs. And I have a similar voice, if not identical voice, as John Barleycorn. the first 6 months usually for a person is when the obsession to drink stops. The obsession to use drugs, the obsession of any addiction. One has to go through a lot of self-discovery and deal with a lot of stressors to come out the other end. People have been traumatized. A lot of times abuse originates from abuse and abandonment. And so it takes a while to overcome. For me, Hugs Not Drugs, I'm going to say I wanted to use every day for 2 years, but I didn't, because I had the support of a group and I had the motivation to stop. So, and I was encouraged to use a convergence experience. Only God was going to help me. When I looked in the mirror and saw a dead man, only God was going to help me. So I tapped into that, and a lot of prayers from my family got me to want to stop. I believe that, and I'm going to the grave with that one. So here we go. Go back to it, John Barleycorn. Go ahead and read. Admitting or self-disclosure to stinking thinking will help you from picking up a drink or a drug again. The ability to do reality checks assists self-knowledge, and the self-knowledge is the key to relapse prevention. If the symptoms are caught early enough and recognized, you can change your thinking. Reframing mental obsession to drink and drug happens only when behavior changes. Remember, move a muscle, change a thought. Yeah, I try to get Huggy, Hugs Not Drugs, to have a bad attitude all the time. I'm always needling him and stuff like that. And if he's not on his toes, I'm gonna take over. And so it's been, let me interrupt you, Dr. Uggs. Hugs Not Drugs here. Yeah, for 45 years you've been really trying to get the upper hand and be dominant again and have me active, and it just hasn't happened because of the friends that I have in recovery that I call, and the meetings that I attend, and the prayer life that I have, and the meditation life that I have, and just the visibility of knowing that I don't have to use just for today for 24 hours. Staying in the now is really, really important. But let's get back to the 3 Rs of relapse. That's the next section of this reading in Chapter 2. Go for it, John Barleycorn. All right, let's look at a set of symptoms leading to relapse. While you must maintain the disciplines that ensure sobriety and being clean, there are ways which others can help. Nearly every person close to a chemically dependent person is able to recognize behavior changes that indicate a return to the old way of thinking. Often individuals and 12-step members try to warn about the potential of relapse. There are 3 states of mind that cause relapse if not discovered. All 3 begin with the letter R. They are resentment, remorse, and reservations. You are vulnerable to relapse when you exhibit one or more of the 3 R's. Relapse is inevitable if you are continually resentful of others, full of remorse, or reserving the right to do as you please in matters compromising your recovery. Remember, mental relapse first, physical relapse second. Mindful of the moment and doing the next right thing is your number 1 priority to prevent relapse. Let me read that again. That's the last sentence for this relapse prevention information. Remember, mental relapse first, physical relapse second. Mindful of the moment and doing the next right thing is your number 1 priority to prevent relapse. wow, I can't get over the fact that I can't get him to take a drink or a drug because he does this. Thank you, Dr. Uggs. That's the best compliment I could hear from you. Yes, staying in the moment. I have personally relapsed thousands of times mentally, but not physically. So if I don't relapse physically, I'm not going to be on the road to destruction, the road to hell again. But I have to become aware that I'm pointed in the wrong direction. The road to wellness has two paths, the spiritual path and the psychopath. So when I start having a bad attitude and I'm aware of it, I realize it and turn around, talk to somebody. I'm stuck. I tell people I'm stuck, and people will support me through communication, commitment, and caring. And I get unstuck, turn around, get back on the path again. So this is a daily reprieve based on a spiritual condition and work. Takes work. So we talk about 4 A's in recovery: awareness, admission of the awarenesses, talking to somebody, and accepting. Now, acceptance is different than just awareness. It's in your soul. It's in your spirit. A great person in recovery and a priest, a Roman Catholic priest, Father Martin, talks about relapse prevention, and he talks about the fact that you really need to be reaching out and being vulnerable by accepting. Insanity is, well, Einstein said insanity was doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting something different. But insanity in Father Martin's definition was emotion over intelligence. Emotion over intelligence. He called it E over I. We're thinking with our heart instead of our brains. Okay, if we want to do anything, we need to use both sides of our brain. One side is much more emotional. One side is much more analytical. So we need to use both sides of our brain to have wisdom. So that's accelerated learning when we can be emotional about something. And that's why I do what I do with this podcast. I throw in some emotion with Dr. Uggs. Yeah, I'm comedic. I really get people to understand. Don't take it so seriously. And also, I get people riled up. I like to, get huggy in the wrong direction. I like to point them out. That's what happens on a daily basis. We have life stressors. And let's face it, our childhoods can be traumatic. We've lived through many different things. Now, when we are stressed out, that's in the back of our brain. In the back of our brain is like the caveman mentality, the survival mentality. We need to go up to the midbrain and problem solve. Now, the midbrain for an alcoholic and drug addict is two parts of the brain, the amygdala and the hypothalamus, are pleasure centers. Well, you heard in episode 1 that the Harry Uggs, he looked at things in a very, very different way. He started drinking And that gave him pleasure. So his brain was hijacked. And he didn't get into trouble about it because he was in an early stage of recovery, early stage of addiction, rather, not recovery. Boy, you really get your tongue over your eye teeth and you can't see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, all right. I make mistakes, but I'm not a mistake. Okay? All right, yeah. All right. So getting back to... Excuse me. You're getting all stressed out, and you're in the back of your brain. You can't even articulate this. Let me try to tell our audience what really is happening when you get traumatized. You go in the back of your brain, and you get sparked by something. You get triggered. Okay, now you have an opportunity here to go south with it or to go north. You want to go north if you want recovery. I'd rather have you go south, but you don't. You go north. You go toward the midbrain and you talk this out with the recovery suggestions of HOW. How? Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. That's why I hate you so much, Huggy. You do this. You stay in recovery by being honest, open-minded, and willing. Well, thank you very much. Shut up. I'm talking. Now, oh my God. I got this cold. Now you're at the midbrain and you look toward the prefrontal cortex after you've resolved in your mind and have accepted, like Father Martin said, emotion over intellect has been reversed, and now you have sanity. Sanity is intellect over emotion because you process things. You've had awareness, you've had admission of the awareness, and you get to acceptance, which is intellect over emotion. From then, you can go to the prefrontal cortex and problem solve and be a decent human being, which you're taking the spiritual path again. Did I explain that well enough? You got it now? You knucklehead. Barleycorn here again. Stop being rude to Huggy. He's not all that, and he knows it, but he does have something over you. He ain't using over it, no matter what. So, F you and the horse you came in on. What? I'm Barleycorn. I ain't Hugs Not Drugs. Okay, so here we go. Voice of reason here. Now, old Max Sims, in the first episode, he talks about Two Hugs Not Drugs, the 3 Rs, and he says there's 3 things that'll get you back to relapse. Well, here he is. He's just come into the studio. Tell it. Yeah, there's 3 things that'll get you back to relapse quicker than anything. That's resentment, remorse, and reservations. Once you have resentments, you better get rid of them, buddy. So naming who you're resentful at, what the cause is, and how it affects you, security-wise, self-esteem, and sex relations. And then you do this other thing. You say to your friend that you're explaining all this to, your resentment to. Now, he'll say to you, oh, that's great. You got great insight. Now, what part did you play in it? Now, I've seen Hugs Not Drugs do this, and he tears up. Looks at me or whoever is mentoring him, tears up and says, I didn't do anything. That is crazy. We look at Hugs Not Drugs when he says that and says, dig a little deeper, son. Dig a little deeper. Okay, let's take a break now. Get that guy in the studio. It's getting crowded in here. All right, we're going to talk about
getting paid for this. If you have a substance abuse problem or you know somebody that does, buy the Road to Wellness workbook and work with that person. Get them to do this for 30 days and get a good start in treatment. And by the way, while you're doing it, go to 90 meetings in 90 days. That's going to help you too. So what is the Road to Wellness workbook? This is the commercial, so listen up. The Road to Wellness workbook is designed to provide education, emotional support, and inspiration to persons suffering from addiction. It offers step-by-step lessons to people striving to turn their lives around regarding abstinence, relapse prevention, family dynamics, and self-assessment to continue to discover day-to-day recovery. Recovery's up to you. It's not up to the counselor. It's not up to your friends. It's not up to your mentor. But mentors help. Journaling helps. You must exchange and surrender destructive behaviors for constructive ways of handling the day-to-day stressors of life. No one deserves to continue to suffer from active addiction. Get better, do the work. Now back to the Relapse Prevention section, Chapter 2 of the Road to Wellness workbook. Take it away, John Barleycorn.
Okay, we've talked about relapse prevention. We've read some of the insights of John Forlenza-Bailey. Now we're getting to the exercises in the book. He, on page 29 of the Road to Wellness workbook, he says, identify at least 3 areas of resentment currently in your life by completing the following sentences. I resent people, places, or situations. How did you used to handle those situations? Another thing is asked is, how could you do it differently? After talking about resentments, they're going to the concept of remorse. Think about your role of remorse in the process of your addiction. How do you handle the stress of remorse?
Yeah, I try to get Huggy to do this all the time. Pour me. Pour me a drink, would you?
All right, but let's get back to the exercise. Dr. Uggs, Barleycorn here. Think about the role of remorse in the process of your addiction. How do you handle the stress of remorse? What are some of the coping mechanisms you use to deal with your remorse? Regarding remorse, what is your commitment to maintaining healthy coping mechanisms? So we're really getting people to do the 4 A's. Awareness, admission of the awareness, acceptance of the awareness, because you're doing the journal and you're doing the exercises. You'll get to the acceptance of intelligence over emotion, and then you're doing the action, which is the magic of the 4 A's. Awareness, admission, acceptance, and the magic is action. Doing the journal writing and processing this until it doesn't hold you anymore. You've turned around off the psychopath. You've gotten on the path of recovery when you've done the action. List any reservations you have about recovery suggestions that you've learned. So that's the 3rd R. We've talked about resentment. We've talked about remorse. And now we're talking about reservations. List any reservations you have. What is the worst scenario you can imagine if you reserve the right to do as you wanted to instead of doing the Road to Wellness workbook or any kind of treatment or any kind of recovery suggestions? But mostly we're talking about this workbook right now. What is the worst scenario you can imagine if you reserve the right to do as you wanted and not accept the recovery suggestions in this workbook? You write that down. Upon completion of this workbook, without reservations, what is the best scenario you can imagine? So, we have nightmares and we have very, very good dreams. So what are your goals and completing them. Just imagine in your mind's eye completing the Road to Wellness workbook as it's directed to do.
Boy, you can't talk at all, can you? As you want the workbook to work for you, you have to follow directions.
All right, and thanks, Dr. Uggs. And when you are aware of your exhibiting resentment, remorse,
oh my God, you can't even talk. And I'm the one that is being stifled. When you are aware that you are exhibiting resentment, remorse, and reservations, what will be your recovery plan?
That's correct. So naming, claiming, and processing your thoughts about resentment, remorse, and reservations, and doing the action is going to get you well. And then, so we're on page 31, and 31, you're doing the journal again. And the journal is very, very simple. We're keeping it simple here, folks. What am I thinking today? What am I feeling today? And what am I doing? You do that 7 days a week. You process this information, the exercises with your mentor, and you process the 7 days of reading this little short chapter and then writing about it in your journal. Simple, huh? Simple but not easy, guys. Okay, so just to recap, we've talked about the second chapter today called Relapse Prevention, and we've talked about the fact that we need to have this, be aware of the 3 Rs. They're the things that'll get you back to relapse quicker than anything. Resentments of others, people, places, and things. We have to process them with other people. We're only as sick as our secrets, so let people know what you resent. Also, this is very difficult to do, and you may have sadness and depression. Depression is anger turned inward. So get that anger out, get that resentment out, get your any feelings that you have, mad, glad, sad, and scared, out. When you're writing about your feelings, I feel, whatever that feeling is. There's 4 primary feelings: mad, glad, sad, and scared. So I feel glad that this podcast episode is almost over, and because I've got to go to a meeting after this. So I'm happy to get this done, and I'm happy that you're listening to it, and I hope it benefits you to no end. So it's just another glorious day in paradise here. Okay, so here we go again. Talking to you, Dr. Uggs. What do you have any words of wisdom? Words of wisdom. I got nothing but smart Alex phrases to say. This has been the worst podcast I've ever heard. I hate relapse prevention methods, and I'm trying to get Huggy back for 45 years. This is depressing to me. Hugs Not Drugs, you got anything to say? Thank you, John Barleycorn, for your effort to make this a smooth chapter. This is probably the most important chapter there is. We don't want to use again, and I've seen many people relapse. Relapse is not a requirement for recovery, but when it happens, it really doesn't matter how many times you fall down. It just matters that you get back up one more time, then you fall down. And that's what happened to me, and I owe a lot of debt to all the people in 12-Step for that. So I thank them, and I thank you for giving us a good show today. Whatever Hugs Not Drugs says, it's
it's important. Look. He can't even talk, okay? He's tired. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. He can't even get his words out. This guy's pathetic. You know, I'm just going to say this to you. One time, Dr. Uggs, I've had a wonderful life because I don't use. And I've had a wonderful life because I let you live. And I'm educating you so that I can continue to have a wonderful life. You cannot kill your demons, and you are the demon. But you can educate them. All right. Point well taken. Everybody have a good day, unless you got other plans. Adios, everybody.
Take us out, Harry, with that great song of yours. Appreciate you. Have a good day, everybody. Here's Sketchbook, the end of Sketchbook. Nice outro. Love and peace, brothers and sisters.